Pow, 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 pow. Welcome to the Sunday Funday Pow stream. You are probably watching this in replay, and if I've had the time, there should be timestamps in the description below so you can jump around. My name is Benedicta. I am the senior developer, mom. What do I usually say? I'm the co-founder, senior developer, and mom of Lily Labs. That also consists of Ola, who is upstairs above me. He is the junior developer, co-founder, junior developer, and dad. And then we also have Lillian, our tiny, no, she gets mad if I call her tiny, our very big intern who will be 6 in a week and a day. So that's us. Welcome. If you are joining in, this is the kind of, I used to call it the pre-stream and then I cut it out from YouTube, but I'm not going to do that anymore. So it's just the chit-chat portion, I guess, of our show, stream. What do we call it? But today we will hopefully actually get a full task done because we will be working on getting Fathom working with our Gatsby site, POW. So for those of you, I kind of forget this. So for those of you who are new, we're going to just check out what POW is. So let me share my screen here. POW is the privacy-first menstrual cycle journal. So it's an web app where you can log your cycle and all of the data gets end-to-end encrypted. So there's no way for me, Ola, the intern, or anyone else to read the data that you log about your cycle. So you can check that out over on usepow.app. And also, if you don't really need a menstrual cycle app, or if you're just more interested in life as an indie hacker and how we're doing here in the family business, you can check the description for a link to my weekly newsletter. Later today, I'm going to send out a little reminder that you should be using a password manager, and I recommend 1Password. So that will be going out later tonight. So I usually now just go around sharing the stream here and there and do a little bit more of a chit chat. Say hi in the chat. Let me know who you are. That's always fun. And then we'll get started on the coding at some point, usually around 10 past. Okay. So I can see that Ula is excited upstairs in the loft. Okay. So I'm going to do some sharing. Let's share it here in the thread on Twitter. There we go. There's a little notification. Somebody, Ola has already retweeted. Nice. So if somebody wants to retweet, be my guest. Then I'm going to head on over. We're just going to keep POW open here. We're going to head on over to some more like private communities and share it there. And I won't be showing that for you guys. Share away live streams, I guess. Am I allowed to go in there? Yeah. Okay. And then we'll go and let some other people know. And I think full stack. Share away. Is there a sharing channel there? No. And then we'll go over to Slack. This is exciting stuff for you, right? Then random. And also we'll do some live now. Yes, I am live now. Okay. That's cool. So interestingly, since I am sharing my screen here, and then I'm going to go back here to see if anybody's saying anything. Fathom, I mean, I threw a little shade. Is it called throwing shade? I think it's called throwing shade because I said that we're going to take the local plugin that I've already made and update it because I made it like a long time ago. And if we're lucky, we could even like make it more of an official plugin, because I don't really agree with the way Fathom tells us to implement Fathom with Gatsby, because it's not really the Gatsby way. They're kind of using the last escape hatch we have to customize Gatsby in their documentation. And Fathom answered that, interesting, any chance you can drop us an email? So when we're done with this stream, I will drop them an email, or, just send them to look at this stream. But they're probably sleeping now. I think they're West Coast Americans. Anyway, so that's pretty fun. So if I make a good plugin, maybe they will make it an official Fathom plugin. Who knows? And in other news, our Gatsby silly site challenge entry, silly site challenge entry. I'm gonna have some coffee. Okay. So Gatsby, the technology that I don't use for the web page actually, but for the app part of POW, had and have been using for years. In December, they ran something called the Silly Site Challenge, where they wanted people to just make like silly sites because, 2020, we needed some fun at the end of the year. And we here at Lily Labs decided to join in with Bottled Happiness. I'm going to see if you can hear it, where we bottled up the interns' laughter. I cannot help not laughing when I go to this site, and that was kind of the point. So we got an email this week that Bottled Happiness was top 20. So pretty happy about that. I don't really know what that entails, other than that we will get a sticker. All people who entered get a sticker, but I think it said that being in top 20, we also get a mug. A Gatsby mug. So that's going to be fun. And I also think there might be some stuff happening over on their blog, but it was really fun making this site. And if we end up making like a good plugin today, then Ola can add that plugin to the Bottled Happiness site as well, because we have no analytics on that site because, who really cares? But then again, if we make top 20, it would be, or since we made top 20, and when Gatsby will be sharing this on their blog, it would be interesting to see how many kind of views that will generate. So some good and happiness there, some happiness there. Yes, some happiness there. And I got this email on Tuesday, which was the day after my birthday. So it was a good birthday present. And I was on my way to a good friend who, we're still in semi-lockdown here in Norway, but I have a single friend and they're allowed to choose a family to hang out with. So she chose our family. And then because of that, I was able to go to her house for a birthday dinner on Tuesday. So thank you, Bente. That was very nice. And let's get started. It is almost 10 past. If nobody has any chitty chat they want to add today. Oh, new notification. Did somebody is liking it at least. I'm going to turn this down to not be distracted. And as you see, I've already cheated a little bit. I got some of the reference documentation going because Gatsby has been changing up their documentation again and again. I'm thinking they're trying to find that perfect balance to their documentation. But for me, it's just very confusing because I've been using it for years. And whenever I try to just find some actual references, hardcore kind of, not hardcore, but just nothing, I don't want the tutorial. I don't want anything getting started. I just want to see their API. I'm having a hard time finding it. So I looked that up. So we didn't have to spend the stream trying to find that documentations, but I'll show you how I found it. So yeah, let's have a little look at some of our communities here, and then we'll keep on going. Okay, I think we are good to go. Oh, I need to scratch my back. Okay. Are we ready for some coding? I can see that I should bump up this, the size of this. Zoom in. Is that better? Probably have to do that on other stuff as well. I'm going to close down the ad there. And then let's get coding. Yes. So I'm going to change the banner because we'll be chit-chatting anyway all through this because I am a talker, but we are kind of officially moving into the coding part of this stream. So we'll start like I usually start, and that is by creating an issue. If there is no issue, checking out the branch with that issue number in it so we know what we're doing. And I think I have some Fathom issues here from way back when. So yeah, let's see. February 2020. Well, I've done this. So we're going to just close that one. Mark is closed. Yeah, I haven't added all of this yet. But here's, oh God, there's things popping up. Okay. Stop Fathom tracking pull request deploys on Netlify. So I have a very simple integration with Fathom with their old script where it's added also when I'm building the deploy previews on Netlify. And I was going to do something smart with like Netlify context and blah, 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 trying not to include it. But when I had this sneak peek a couple of weeks ago on the new Fathom script, you can exclude and include domains. So instead of having to make sure we don't kind of build in the Fathom script, I think we'll just make the option in our plugin to add the domains that we want tracking on. And of course, for POW, I only then want it on the production app, which is my.usepow.app. So I'm going to just use this issue as the starting point because that's actually the thing we're trying to solve here. Otherwise, I wouldn't really need to update this code because it's working. It's not the newest, but it's working. But since we are having this issue where whenever Ula or I do a lot of work on our site, then our stats are skewed. So we're going to use that to start. So I don't know what I've written here. I thought this was all, but it's not. Quite a lot of traffic today, blah, blah, blah. So let's use the new Fathom script where we can let's have a look at the Fathom script, what they call it. I have to open Twitter again to find that documentation. Some people are showing up. Hello, nice to meet you. Good morning and good luck. Hopefully this time we're actually going to be able to wrap something up. The last weekends I've been doing kind of maintenance work around environment variables and some server functions and blah, 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 blah. And I haven't been able to wrap those up. If you want to see why, check out Twitter. But I know that if we go to here, I'll find that. Am I the only one that uses Twitter kind of like a bookmarking system? Oh no, that was wrong. Okay. There is the script. And then we'll read the advanced. So do they call it whitelist? Do they call it accept, exclude, or include? Yeah. So that's what we want to do. We want to use the included domains because we only want include. So let's go back here then, script where we can decide what domains to include. Great. And this is the number 99. I'll head on over to our code. And see, this is our old code. And we are on a completely wrong branch. So let's check out master. I haven't had time to rename this to main yet, but I've done that in some other projects. So git checkout branch Fathom plugin. And then that was number 99. I like to keep the reference to the issue number in the branch name because sometimes it takes, like you see, this one was from February or something like that. So it's always nice to kind of tie the work together. So I already have a plugin. So I have a local plugin. Is this big enough? Is this big enough? I will do one zoom in and then let me know if it's big enough. Okay. And we will not be looking at, yeah, so that's all my development. So that's what I've been working on, as I said, with the reference to Twitter and on why this is not working. These are all my kind of development keys. So not scary to share them. Well, anyway, so back on track. I like to make functionality that is separate and should be kind of like its own module in Gatsby. I like to make them as local plugins first, or sometimes I'll start by just adding it to the Gatsby SSR or the Gatsby node, Gatsby browser files. But if it feels like it's very kind of separate from the actual project I'm doing, then I like to make them as local plugins. And then if I get really happy with them, I might make them proper plugins for other people to use, or just like for me to use over and over again. So as you can see here, that's what I've done. I made a plugins folder with a Fathom tracking, which is then will then be a local plugin that I can reference in my Gatsby config. So here it is, and this is what I've been trying to do some disabled, and this was way back because this doesn't even, I think this will always be true or false. I don't know. We're not gonna be using that anymore. So just let's remove it. So I still want to get the Fathom site ID, and I've added a test ID here. And then I would like to have all of the options that Fathom lets me set. I would like to have them in the plugin options as well. But let's go back to the plugin and see how it has been working for me. So there's nothing in an index file for plugins that don't use the index file, but we need to have it there, I think. But then in our Gatsby SSR, so Gatsby SSR is Gatsby server-side rendering file. So this is stuff that only happens when we build the site, not when we do Gatsby develop, I think, but only when we do Gatsby build. And this is what happens for every page. They create kind of like a server-side rendered version of the page, and then that will be served to the browser. And when it's in the browser, JavaScript will kick in and then rehydrate, as it's called, and make it into a single-page application. But that means you can hit the Gatsby site from like any page and start with that, and then it becomes single page application. I'm seeing there's some comments in the chat. I'm just going to check that out. So it's big enough. Thank you. Good to know. Thank you for letting me know. And then I see there are some people here just checking in. That is always cool. It's always cool when Norwegians who are not even developers are checking in on what I'm doing. I like that, and feel free to pop out as soon as it gets too boring for you. Okay, so this is the old Fathom script. So I'm creating it as a tracking. I guess I do create tracking snippets, and then so that's, I guess this could have been no. So I'm giving in the site ID. And then I make it as a script tag, and then on render body, I put it in as a set post body component, and then I add kind of this script will then be added in there. But I think if you go back to the documentation for Fathom now, they say it should add the following snippet just before the head in that file. So let's do that. And then if we go here, so how I found this Gatsby server-side rendering API documentation, I think I went to the reference guides, the config files, see all 7, scroll, Gatsby SSR APIs. That's where I found it. And so we'll go back to onRenderBody, which is the same one I have been using, onRenderBody. But we now see that we can do a set head component. Takes an array of components as its first argument, which are added to the head component array, which is passed to the HTML.js. Because we don't really want to like mess with the HTML.js directly, because if Gatsby decides to update or any of our plugins decide to update it anyway, it's bad if we have been messing with the HTML.js file, which is what Fathom is suggesting. So they're saying copy the default HTML.js from the cache and then add it to your source and then, you know, mess with that. And I think if you go back to Gatsby here, customizing HTML, they say that most sites should use the default. But if you need to customize, copy the default one in your source tree. But I don't think we need to do that because we can tap into this onRenderBody. I think at least, because we're not done. So, but that's what I'm thinking. So we want to do, we want to set it here in the head components. And I think this example that I had a sneak peek at for this time, but this is as far as I've looked, actually lets us know how to do that specifically. And they have this cool thing where they make it as components instead of as I made it, kind of like a script. Well, I guess it's a component, script tag, yeah. So create tracking snippet, they call it a head component. So I should probably do that as well, since call it kind of like the Fathom script component, I guess, so that it's more in line with what they're doing. And then we will have to get the new script. So let's just remove this for now. We'll do the options later. And then instead of set post body comments, we want to do the set head components. Now I'm hoping I have this, because this might be the newest version of Gatsby, but we'll figure that out pretty fast. Because he doesn't have a set post. Oh, we might have to update Gatsby. But the cool thing, if we end up having to do that, is that I think for the newest version of Gatsby that just came out a couple of days ago, they actually do this Gatsby SSR in the development build as well. So we'll see. We'll see. As I said, after last week where nothing was working. These are not practice scripted streams. These are warts and all. Okay. So I'll do the set head component. And then we get the plugin options, I guess, as well. And then we do set head component. Is it head components? Yes, head component, set head components. And then we'll rename that to head components. Okay, we do create the snap. We create the tracking snippet, and then we call it. We give it key, and then we dangerously set inner HTML to what's up here. So now let's go back and see the new script. So you can also swap out the fur with async or just load it without either, but we don't advise it. Instead, this is how our code should be most commonly used. Let's do that then. Oh, so I don't need all of this now because it is already a script. So let's delete this then. And then we can delete that, and we'll just put it in here. And then we want to put the site ID here, I guess. This is making everything a lot cleaner. should become white, but it doesn't. So site ID, site ID, site ID. Okay. We're getting the site ID, blah, 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 blah. And then export on render body. It's still called on render body, right? On render body, but on render blah, 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 blah. Okay, let's see if it wants to build or if we have to update Gatsby, because that would be that could take some time. Okay. So what are people doing this fine Sunday when they're not watching my stream? The family here will be going into the woods to do some cross-country skiing. Because I've seen the weather reports. It's going to be cold. It's going to be snowing this week, but then it's going to be warm, and then probably the snow will be gone from the city forest again. So we want to try to make sure we get that done. But now I am also thinking that I've done this wrong because Gatsby dev will probably not do my Gatsby SSSR. So we should do, oh, the family's coming down from the loft. We'll see how that goes. We'll do Gatsby build, I guess. Gatsby, yeah, we can do yarn build. And then we'll do the serve. So I guess after we do yarn build, we can actually check to see if our cached HTML is how we would like it to be. Or our not cached, our outputted HTML is how we'd like it to be.
Yoo-hoo!
Yahoo! I think they have come down from the loft to do some packing.
Det står åpent.
Nei! Det står åpent. Så kan du sette den på stengt for meg, da.
Var du med på TV når du sa det?
Ja. Dere er på TV.
Jeg var du på TV når du sa det?
Det vet jeg ikke. But guys, you have to leave me alone so I can actually do the stream. That's Ola. And Lillian, for those of you who don't understand Norwegian, she said it said open. She has made a little sign for me that I can close my office, which is in the middle of the living room. And she said it said open, so that's why she talked to me. But sometimes Ola is the loudest. So can you please try to be quiet, guys? Okay, this was shaping up to be a really good and like succinct stream. Yes, now it's not. Okay, getting back on track. We are now building the Gatsby site, so then hopefully there's nothing on here. I just want to try to keep them out. We are building it, so that's going to take some time to see if we get the script in our head tag like we were hoping we would. But building always takes a little bit of time, and it especially takes more time when I'm streaming. So last week, Netlify Dev didn't even want to run because it takes up too much resources, I guess. So, yes. Trying to stream.
Det for her.
Ja, du får bare legge den der, da, vet du.
Jeg kommer. Jeg skal hjelpe deg.
So for people joining in, we're just waiting for the Gatsby to build to see if our what we've been doing here in our Gatsby SSSR will actually show up in their HTML. But guys, you have to be more quiet. If you can't, you have to go upstairs and wait with the packing. Family life on a Sunday, right?
Skjønte du hva hun sa? Nei, ikke jeg heller.
This building is taking forever.
Det ikke vår skyld.
Please, gosh, please build.
High five!
Please build.
Her brødskiva di, kom.
Succeeded.
Jeg må fylle på andre stearin.
Det er brødskjold. Det er utmerket.
Next time I try to make a Gatsby plugin, I think I'm gonna just start with a very simple site so it's quicker to build. So now it says building static HTML for pages. So hopefully we will see if we get the Fathom script in there or not. So one thing that struck me a little bit when I was looking at the missing site ID. Of course, because I put it in the development and the development. They most definitely are. Usually they're pretty good staying up in the loft while I stream, but not today.
We had a little accident.
Well, I said they had an accident. Okay, so it's saying it's missing site ID, and that's because when you do the build, Gatsby build, it uses the and production variables. So I will have to add that, but even so, it should be adding this, but just with a blank site ID. So let's go have a look at where is it coming out? Here, public. Let's just have a look at one of the pages. I've never really looked in here. I'm not going to be looking in here. I'm going to do Gatsby serve, and then we'll see if it's there. Now they're whispering. They're trying to be good. But Ulla is the loudest whisperer of them all. So let's see if we have any Fathom in here. It does not look like it. So I am thinking that maybe we don't have that function because it might have been added in some newer Gatsby stuff. So this is Gatsby 224. So yeah, it's not added. So let's go back to our code then. But this should then not work because it shouldn't exist. Oh, of course, because I am nulling it out, so of course it's not working. It's harder to concentrate when there's like people having fun around you. Let's see. And production. And we'll do this. That's the only one we need. Isn't it? I think it is. And production. So let's try again.
Se nå. Se på meg nå. Du tar den på skulderen sånn. Du setter den der. Snu deg rundt. Du tar den på skulderen sånn.
Okay, hopefully
Sånn.
we are not going to get any of those site IDs not. But as I was saying, this would be better if I had updated Gatsby, but I just saw the tweet yesterday. Let's have a look at it. From Hashim, I think, about how Gatsby now has updated. Did I save it though? Let's go to Gatsby.
ikke ned fra det da. Fram og tilbake.
Too much information. Ugh. I'm trying to find that info on Gatsby dev now. Doing here we are.
Ja, ferdig. Og så tar du den, og så gjør du sånn.
So they say now that there's even server-side rendering in development. So if I'd updated to 230, we wouldn't have had to build to get the server-side. So at least we haven't gotten any of our warnings about site ID. So let's keep on going. But while we're waiting, there are some other fun stuff. Let's zoom in. Happening with Gatsby. So you can query on demand images, which weren't possible before. Now, as they're saying, server-side rendering in development, which I've had this problem many times where I've thought I've done something or everything is working fine, and then I push it to GitHub and then kickstart a build on Netlify, and then it fails because things did not work in a server-side with the server-side rendering. So I think this will be, to 5% of it. Oh, starting a partial release. I might not have gotten it anyway, but so that's very interesting. I'm looking forward to that. I don't use SAS, so I don't care about that. Let's see if it's built. Yes. Okay. Tracking missing site ID. Site ID, site ID. Is this what I thought, like, finally today we're doing something that will be like work site. Of course. So let's skip it. Let's just get it to freaking work. Everything feels longer on stream. It just feels like. But why is there no site ID? Gatsby config and Fathom site ID. It's probably because it's not env production. It's probably just using env. I can't remember. Let's just set it manually later on.
Så nå gjør du sånn som jeg sier. Snu deg rundt, snu deg rundt, snu deg rundt. Putt den der. Hold den på skulderen. Hold den hardt. Hold den hardt. Og så klem den hardt. Kom igjen. Hardt, hardt.
Let's check that while we're at it.
Kom igjen.
And
Bra jobba. Så rydder vi. Ja, og så setter du de et sted. Så setter du skiene et sted. Du skal ikke ligge der, for der skal lilla sitte. Sett de et
I
sted.
thought they had something about env variables.
Du skal sette det et sted. Sett det et smart sted. Nei, ikke ligge på bakken.
No.
Det er aldri smart. Sett det et smart sted. Nei, det har vi ikke. Det er bare de andre skiene.
So let's rename it to env in case then.
Okay,
Or we'll just set them here while we're making this trying.
det er ikke greit.
It's gonna take this long to build every time. Like this stream is gonna be. I need a new computer. Anybody want to buy me a new computer? Fabio, where are you? You were gonna win the lottery and buy me a new computer. Oh, come on. Come on. Well, let's prepare this while we're waiting. So, test. And then, did I close down? So let's do all of these basic instructions, advanced instructions. let's do all of the options. So it's data site. So let's just call it site then to keep it with the Fathom documentation. And then we have honor DNT, honor do not track. True. And then we have disable automatic tracking. By default, we track a page view every time a visitor to your website loads on a page with our script on it. If you don't want that functionality, you can turn it off. So that we don't like to honor. Oh, we would like to honor. Turn on off. That's because Fathom is privacy focused. So do not think personal identifiable by is ever tracked. Do not, if you like to update your code, include true. So I think the default there was false. And then data auto. So auto. The default is true. If there's canonical URL in place, then by default we use it instead of the current URL. This is what most customers want, and it's why it's by default. So canonical is also true by default. Just adding them all in there so I know what they are and then what the default is. And I think we'll do some kind of, I've seen that with news plugins, something new with Gatsby and plugins is that you can do some validation on your, oh, so it's done. So let's try now then, Gatsby. Serve, yarn serve. I cannot spell for the life of me. There we go. So there's going to be lots of error here now because there's no there are no end variables. But let's see if we have gotten Fathom in here. There we go. Script source Fathom. Woohoo! So our thinking was working, but our environment was not working, which is following me these days. I'm having such a hard time with getting it. Like I understand it. It's not hard. It's just getting all those ducks in a row, right? So we use the on-render body SSR API. So we get in here, we use it. We then extract the set head components function. Then we do set a head components from this. So head components, and then we return the script from Fathom. And we would like to add more things to this. So we started over here with honor DNT. So it was data keep. There's my documentation there. Let's keep doing it. So we have the site. We have data honor. And we would like that to be, so let's call this site. Let's make it an object, site, honor, DNT. Honor DNT. Plugin options. Just gonna add those in here. So we're sending the plugin options just straight into here. We have honor DNT. We have auth. So let's go back here. We have data auto. Let's get that. Auto. Ooh. Site all the way through. We have data canonical. And since I can't spell, I will copy paste that. Paste it over here as well, just in case. through. Excluded or included domains, which is what we actually want to be doing today. Yay! So we'll do data excluded domains. Not here, but here. And we'll do excluded domains. Excluded, did I spell that right? Yes, I did. And I think it says something about if you use both. So you can, however, exclude one or several domains. Our tracker will track things on every domain except the ones excluded by adding data excluded domains. And use a comma to separate multiple domains. No space in between the domains, just commas. Okay. If you want to go in the opposite direction and only track stats on a specific domain, you can use data included domains using a comma to separate multiple domains. No spaces in between. Yes, that's the one you want. I'm wondering what happens if you include both of them. If you include and exclude. Well, we're not going to do that on stream, but yeah. So excluded domains, and then we have data included domains. Included. I need a new keyboard. I keep saying that on all the things. It's like it like misses half of my typing. Included domains. Oh, I need to add that here, of course. So included domains. And then excluded domains. Did I do both? Excluded, included, excluded, included. Yes. Let's go back here. Defer. If there's not a Fathom plugin for your specific Java, you can use a generic SPA mode. Most applications use the HTML history. Yes, I think that's what we want to do with Gatsby. We want to do data SPA auto. And then we want defer. I think we're through all of the options. Page views, because we don't need that right now. Okay, cool. Lilian, du må være litt stille. Yeah, so Lucas is asking, while you're waiting, I don't know if you're still here, Lucas, but I haven't used Next myself yet. But the big difference that I know of between Next and Gatsby is that Gatsby, you only do SSR, static site generation. So whenever you change the code or you change your content, the whole page or the whole site is rebuilt, and then it's there, and then it's statically served to the browser. While with Next, you can do static site generation, but you can also do static site, or I can't remember static site, no, server side, sorry. So with Gatsby, you do server-side rendering, and then you serve those. But then with Next, you can also do server-side generation. Now I'm confusing my terminology. But anywho, the thing is, with Gatsby, you have to rebuild everything and then serve that to the client. And anything that would be dynamic, you have to do in the client, like you have always had to do with single-page applications. But with Next, you can decide, I think, on a route-by-route basis if that page should just be a part of the static or the single page application, or if it should actually send a request to the server and then get the page back. So you can mix and match. You can have some pages that are kind of laying ready for you on the server, already fully rendered, and you just send them over. Or you can have pages that will kind of dynamically render on the server before being sent over to the browser. So if you're doing things where you want to, where I guess one thing is with authentic. So for my app, everything is end-to-end encrypted. So I cannot like fetch the data in the server and then render the page and send over. But if you had more of like a course, I know that Josh McCoe, he's making a course platform, and then he's using Next, because then for his authenticated users, he can actually kind of pre-render the user's data on the server before sending it over, if that made any sense. I do have plans to like write a big blog post about this, because then it's easier to get all your terminology correct. So I think we're good to go. I'm going to Google this new thing from Gatsby where we can do some, or let's not do that now. So we want to exclude domains and include domains. And to test this, I think we're going to make a test Fathom site. So app, Fathom, use Fathom. I already have a testing site. And I think, so this Fathom, if you're looking at this, I'm always wondering where I get there. We get my site IDs. So testing. So we'll set all of these to default, and then we want to do include domains. I guess we want to include then the domain we are doing here, just to make sure that it's working. And then nothing on exclude domains. I will just comment that out then. Yeah. Oh, so you're still here, Lucas. Yeah. So also one of the reasons why I'm not using Next is because I was comfortable with Gatsby, and also because I know with having to encrypt everything, or everything being end-to-end encrypted, I can never do any kind of like dynamic rendering on the server anyway. So I don't need that capabilities. Lilian, nå må du være stille. Du må være stille. Helt stille. Ikke synge. Still being trolled by the family. They are not leaving today. I think they really want to get into the forest. So, so we have the site ID now, and we have included the domain. And then let's see if we can get this to work. We'll do another build. And then while we'll do that, in my periphery, I saw something about Gatsby plugins now having validation for their options. So we could add some info on what we want these different things to be and what we want the default to be if it doesn't fit our needs. So if it's not fit our needs, if it's not given. So let's try and Google, or not Google, let's do it in here, plugin validation. How to validate plugin options. Well, that sounds like exactly what we want. So we can, how to define an option schema. You should use the plugin option schema API to define your plugin's option schema. It gets passed an instance of Joy, which you use to return a Joy object schema for the options you expect users to pass. So here we are, option as message, blah, blah, and this one is optional. You want users to pass in the boolean to option A and the string to message, and they can, so exports, we'll do this in, so we'll do this in Gatsby Node, actually. Plugin option schema, Joy. This looks pretty cool. That do not match the schema, the validation will show an error when they run Gatsby develop and prompt them to fix their configuration. This looks, I like this. This looks very straight. And I've used Joy before and really like it. So it's still building. So let's just start by adding this. So I usually don't start like, oh, what happened? If this was me properly doing development, I have rules where I'm not allowed to just like start new things while waiting for building and not check Twitter, even though I do. But since we are on stream and it's boring for everyone to just watch building, and since it's taking so long because I'm streaming, I'll do some work in between here. Oh, let's get Lucas off the screen again. So why is my new file not working? New file. Hello. What's up? Oh, I'm not allowed because I'm building? This has never happened before. Okay, so let's not then. Let's just wait. So I guess the only one I need to be required is the site, would be the site ID, or the site, as we decided to call it, the site. And then all of the other ones will be optional. And then if they're not set, it will then defer to Fathom's setting. So that's cool. Because otherwise, sometimes I've like added all of the options in there to make it clear for others, like what options are available. But for this, where you mostly just want to use all of it, kind of the default, then it's nicer to be able to use this kind of schema and say, hey, you know, this is optional. And then also say if it's should be a string or boolean or that kind of thing. So false and optional. I'm looking forward to implementing. Oh, we are good. Get yarn serve. So is our Fathom script in here? Yes, data site. And we got all of these data included domains. So let's then check to see. It's not showing up, is it? I guess didn't do reload, did it? Because it was just. Oh, I have turned off. I've turned off the JavaScript. No wonder it's not working. So it usually comes up here. Let's have another. Data site, data spa. Is this the right settings? Should be this one, testing. But it is not. Login. But it is not. It said something about wanting to be the last thing in your head, so maybe that's why. Is this still? Anyone seeing something I'm not seeing? Fathom might. I have too many things open now. Let's close down stuff. Maybe they don't do localhost though. That might be it. they might not do localhost logging, which would make sense. That would make sense, wouldn't it? So we could try to publish this on Netlify. But I don't want the... yeah. How to test this without messing everything up? Oh, we could do a Netlify. We could do a Netlify live, but that would use the dev script, which wouldn't work. I think this is correct, though. I'm just thinking. So now I would have needed. So I have this work that I'm doing to get all of my like environment variables working properly with Netlify. So if we go over here. So I've cleaned up my env variables in this pull request, and I'm using this Netlify plugin contextual env build plugin. So what it does is that it makes sure that it takes kind of deploy preview environment variables and add those onto oh, but I could just skip it. I could just use it as I did. I just like put in the yes, I just we'll just skip the env variables like we are doing, and then we'll push it up to Netlify, and then we'll see if it tracks or not. That would be a good way to do it. Hopefully it's not going to take too long. And if that doesn't work, we'll skip it, and you will have to check out my tweets to see if this ended up working properly. Okay. Should we just quit here, or should I try this? Let's try this. Refactored Fathom plugin. And git push. And I would need another. Okay. Okay, let's make a new pull request. Create pull request. We'll link it up to the them. Okay, and let's see. And now it should not sync, but then when we get that domain, the Netlify domain, we could add that to the plugin options, and then we'll push that, and it will rebuild, and then we can see if if that works. I always think like, oh, this is going to be a quick one. Let's do that on stream. It's not going to be a problem. And then when you start doing it, and also because the computer is just running so slow, it's like, what? But we're going to stick with it. We're going to make it work. And also I have to go skiing soon, so we will see. We will see if we can make this work, if we can make it work. Can we make it work? We are deploying. We are deploying to see if it works. We are deploying so that we can get a proper domain, and then we're going to add that domain to our Fathom Gatsby plugin to see if it will track only that domain. But everything is, of course, going super slow today. Usually Netlify builds a lot faster than this. So for people jumping in, what we have done is that we are making a Fathom tracking plugin. And so in the Gatsby SSSR, we are including the script and we are getting all these settings from the plugin options object. So I'm just putting that in there. We've also seen that we can create, but I think I lost that documentation. We can create validation, a joy validation thing so that we can validate that all of these plugin options are what they should be. And the only plugin option we need in this one really is the site one, but we want to make sure that we have a correct one of all of them. I don't know why Netlify is slow. Yesterday when I was doing Netlify builds, they were just like snappy, snappy, snappy. So we might not be able to get this fully happening today. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Let's see. I find this funny with Netlify because some days they are just so quick and other days they are not at all quick. I have, however, been a Netlify customer for super long. When Netlify had this thing where you could check like your number. I don't remember what it was though, but my number was super low. I like to test out new things. And I don't know, I really quickly kind of took to the whole Jamstack approach. I really like it. The only thing I'm not liking, as I've said, is this trying to get all of these pieces to work together with my variables. Because for POW, I mean, we have a production and we have a test and we have, development environment variables, and getting those all to work. And then when Stripe uses the webhook, like what address should it send its webhook to? Those things can get a little confusing, but as soon as it's set up, it's set up. So I mean, tech is not with me on these streams. Oh, here we go. So this will be our domain then. This will be our domain. And this should then not be tracking now. But let's see if it's in the head here. Use Fathom. So it's here, it has this, and then it also had data included domains. It's only the local host. So let's set that now and let's build again. Hopefully it's quicker this time. Correct domain. So let's check that it's, oh, maybe it would be, no, so it's not doing any tracking now. And then hopefully when we push this, it will start doing some tracking. So we are building again. Usually it kind of is faster, like the second time I do pull request. or the second time I pushed to the same pull request, probably because like the site name is already set up and stuff. It's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing how Netlify does that, where you like get, you get a full URL that you can use, and I think it's live for like ever. I've never, I don't know what kind of data centers will, but anyway, so you have that like URL there, and it's really quick how that happens. So I keep refreshing it because before you had to refresh, but now I think these update themselves automatically. But I just like, I don't know, I like to do the refresh. Thank you for telling me that. Yeah, these are very non-scripted. I think a lot of what we see on YouTube they're not scripted, but it's something people have done over and over again, and they've kind of practiced it. So they kind of know, and they'll make little mistakes because you always make, typos and stuff like that. But they're not like actually figuring out what they're going to do while doing it. So I do this a lot also to just keep on working on POW. So I actually get stuff done. I don't have the time to like make these in addition to making POW, like, screencasts. But I would like one stream to just go a little more smoothly, because I am also having trouble with things that I never have trouble with. Like I'm saying, like yesterday I did some bigger pushes to Netlify and it was super snappy. And the other day, on stream, Netlify dev, the command, didn't work at all. But then as soon as the stream was over, it was working. Snooty is here. Yeah, it was nice watching you on stream yesterday, getting the game going. I am having a good stream other than Netlify being super slow building. But we'll just chatty. So I don't know if you were here for that, Snooty, but the family came trolling. So they just came down and are doing packing for our ski trip. And we're like all up in my face. But that's part of it, isn't it? Please build so we can get this verified. And then I can like close up the stream. And then I can go skiing with the family who has been waiting, not so patiently today, but still waiting. Come on. Can also let the new people who haven't been here all stream know that our Gatsby Silly Side Challenge entry was picked for the top 20. Yay! So we are getting a Gatsby mug, I think. We are getting a Gatsby mug. Let's listen to it while we are waiting. Okay. Come on. Are you kidding me? There we go. Just needed me to be a little mad at it. So hopefully we will now see this happening over in our analytics. So we have the script, we have the domain. Yes! Working! Woo! Woo! Working. So we learned that Fathom, for obvious reasons, do not track local domains. But yes, we made it work. So let's do a recap, and then I'm going to pack up and get out into the Oslo city forest for some cross-country skiing. So what we have made is that we have made or started making a local Fathom tracking plugin that takes in the same options that Fathom are taking in that we can see here in the tracking advanced documentations. We then, instead of doing what Fathom was suggesting, which is messing with the HTML.js file that we could have found in the cache and then copied over, we are doing it the Gatsby way, using the Gatsby server-side rendering API. That we could have a look at their API here, and we're using on render body. We are pretty much following this example where we then set head components. So let's go back to our code. We copied the script from the Fathom documentation, and then we created a head component function that returns the script with all of the options set with it. And then on render body, we do set head components, and we set head components, and we set an array with the head components. But let's just call it Fathom script component. I like to be explicit. Fathom script component. There. I think this is an array where we could have set multiple components if we would have liked to do that. The only thing I will look into a little bit, if that maybe I should have an option for the data spa option as well, and also if I should let the plugin also do something to the defer, just so we can give users of this plugin the exact same customizations that they can do if they were just including it themselves. So yeah, this worked really well, except things being slow, of course. We are on stream. Yep. Woo, woo, woo. And top 20 also. Yay. So I think off stream, I will chat with Fathom, who were interested in this approach. Yes. Okay, we're going to do the outro soon, but somebody needs the phone open so she can choose an audiobook. There you go. Yeah. I think off stream, I'm going to contact Fathom like they asked me to on Twitter and show them this approach. And then either I or they can take this code and make an official Gatsby Fathom plugin, because that would be kind of cool. That's all for today. If you want to hear more about POW, life here in Lily Labs, privacy, menstrual health, that sort of thing, you could sign up for my weekly newsletter in the description below. And then I'll see you next Sunday for another Sunday fun day POW stream. Bye-bye. Pow, 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 pow. Woohoo!